it's not pointed at you, it's pointed at me, so you can make all the funny faces you want. And so, welcome everybody. I'm happy to see you all here. Can't tell you how happy I am to see you all here. This is the first time that we're meeting in person since February of 2020, so a long time. And before we begin, I think we should start our meeting, first of all, by acknowledging that we're meeting today on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe Indigenous people who have inhabited these lands from the beginning. And we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of Indigenous people who have been stewards of this land for thousands of years. So to begin with, I've got the agenda. Everybody got an agenda in front of them? Is there any additions to that agenda? Can I have an approval of the agenda? Ray, Pam, second. Okay. I also need approval of the prior month's meeting minutes. That was our June 24th members update meeting. Can I have approval of those minutes? Anybody read them? Pam, second by Michael. Thank you. Melissa, I didn't ask you, do we have any correspondence?
We do.
You want to tell them what we've got? You tell them.
So we have some correspondence that will be scanned, and I'll put this in the minutes as well. We have a person who has emailed saying that they're interested in being a guest speaker in the future. We have an email on mental wellness in the workplace from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. That's in regards to some seminars they have coming up, which are free for you to attend because we are members of the Ontario Chamber. We do get a lot of correspondence. I never print this. And then we have some more seminar information about an upcoming webinar on celebrating small business. We have the labor market update from the Workforce Planning Board of Grand Erie. And then we have the Enterprise Brand newsletter, lots of newsletters.
I don't know if anyone passes around. You could. If you want to see it, or if you want to know anything about this, you can talk to Melissa and she can
absolutely
pass all this on to you. But
we get a lot of emails.
We get a lot of updates.
And then we have the last one is the Ministry of Labor, Training and Skills Development, and that one was in regards to the effective October 1st when the minimum wage was increased.
Yeah, did I hear that right? Minimum wage is going up January 1? I heard that today. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, item 5, roundtable introductions. It's been a long time since we've done this one, so Joel, if I could put you on the spot, start with you. Don't care if you stand up or you stay seated, but just let us know who you are, what your organization is, if you've got any updates quickly. 60 seconds. Go.
So I'm Joel. I'm one of the pastors of the church here, and so welcome. It's great to have you with us. You probably noticed the scaffolding and whatnot going on. There's been lots of changes. Feel free after if you want to wander into the sanctuary. There's been a lot of changes there. One of the keys of our vision is to be for Paris, and so we really want our space, our church to be used by the community. It's for the community. And so if there's things that you'd like to do and partner with us and how that can work out, we'd love to do it. We have Playful Fox in there. We have the DT concert series as part of this. We have other groups using it. So we don't want this building to go unused. And so help us to be a part of this community. We look forward to partnering with all of you. So welcome. I didn't realize the first in-person meeting, so it's awesome. So
it is.
It's great to have you.
It is. Awesome. You're right. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Brandon Love. I'm the Research and Marketing Economic Development Officer for the County Grant.
All right, good afternoon everyone. Ray Petro with the Petro Real Estate Team at Century 21 and current president of the Brantford Regional Real Estate Association. As most of you follow, real estate is absolutely nuts right now, and there is no real relief in sight for purchasers. At the end of the day though, we're telling all of our clients, buy what you can, even if you don't love it. Get in the market however you can, because the prices should continue to climb steady over the next 10 years. So, if you have any questions about real estate, 519-209-8886.
And Ray forgot to mention he's also on the Chamber Board of Directors.
Oh, yes, sorry. I thought I was a legend. I'm also a chamber director.
Russ,
look at the what you know.
I'm in tight quarters here, so I'm just going to stay seated. Russell Press, Director of Economic Development and Tourism for the County of Brant, and most of you have been in touch over the last 19, 20 months or so, and for sure, if you have any needs or requests for support that we might be able to help with, please give us a call.
Jonathan.
Yeah, my name's Jonathan. I'm with ExploreNet Enterprise Solutions. We'll be giving you a little bit of an update later, so I'll just say happy to be here in person tonight.
Joel Bryan from ExploreNet, and I'll be up there shortly and fill you in the rest.
Very good. Dave.
Dave Cash, and I have a small home-based consulting company. Do some limited consulting. I've been working with Pam and Sue on the broadband strategy for the chamber.
Dave, you can come up and take my chair up here. I feel like you're sitting back there.
Listen,
Are you comfortable?
nice and comfy.
No snoozing.
Big chairs.
Okay, Pam.
Pam Dries, Pamela Dries Designs. I'm on board of directors and I'm your advocacy chair.
Steve.
I'm Steve Howes, one of the councilors for the County of Brant. I'm for Ward 2, which is north of the tracks and east of the river. And yeah, just happy to be here. I've been involved with the chamber for the last 3 years, I guess. And yeah, very happy to be involved and very happy to be a councilor for the county.
John.
So I'm Steve's counterpart in Paris or London. I'm councillor for Ward 3. I'm now 3/4 of the year, 3/4 of the time through our first term, so it's coming to that time when you think, do I want to keep on doing it? One of the things that really encouraged me to do it is my involvement with the Chamber of Commerce. It's really been very valuable for me. One of the other things I do, and it just happens to be one of the appointments from the county, I'm the chair of the Board of Health, so you can imagine the last 18 months has been very busy. Not that I've had anything to do with the hands-on stuff, but just the focus of attention. And I hope that everybody here has been vaccinated. I got into trouble recently for asking people, were you vaccinated? So I'm going to risk the trouble again. I'm just saying, I hope you're all vaccinated. Thank you.
We certainly should be, or we shouldn't be here. May.
Yeah, I don't think that they would listen. I'm May, I'm the manager of Business Resource Center. Our goal is to assist small business in the city and the county and in Norfolk. Big news, we have just moved into Brantford's new City Hall, 58 Dalhousie. Once we have some movement, please come in and have a tour. We work with a lot of small businesses in the county. One of the programs we administer for the province is Starter Company Plus. Scott here sits on our grant committee. We have a committee meeting tomorrow night, and one of the people who is pitching to the committee is from the county employment. So happy to tell you that we work with a lot of them.
Wonderful. Good news. Great. Michael.
Nice to see a lot of happy faces. Michael with Millennium Security Services, your local guy for anything security. It is CO week, so make sure you check your COs. They do expire. You should have a CO detector on every floor. They only last 7 years. If they start beeping, it's because they're expired, or maybe a battery. Please make sure they are up to date. I'm also the Vice President and Marketing Chair.
There we go. Shannon.
Shannon McManus, I'm partial in Capital Financial Group in Brantford. I also run an organization called Ladies Who Lead out of Brantford, Brant County, Six Nations. And basically the organization for Ladies Who Lead is about empowering women, and we meet on a monthly basis at the Brantford Golf and Country Club, and basically it's a networking group and empowerment and development group for women entrepreneurs and professionals. And we are bringing Arlene Dickinson to town, to the Sanderson Center on March 24th of 2022. In conjunction with, May at VOC. Anybody can go. Absolutely, it's open to all the public. You do not have to be female.
Any questions, we share.
Yeah.
Cindy Hiscock, and I am the sales and many other hats right now of two properties, the Hampton Inn Suites as well as the Town Place Suites here in Brantford, which business is booming. A lot of travelers, a lot of people coming in, a lot of meetings coming up, and it's looking kind of normal, which is good to see. I mean, our community definitely needs that, and we are, using our protocols. We've done a couple of weddings. It's really just nice to see everyone rooms are coming back, and of course they're very excited, so I'm not so sure I'm happy about that. But if you need anything, meeting space, guest rooms, conference space, give me a call. I'm at those projects.
Thanks, Cindy. Melissa, might as well introduce yourself. Just in case.
I didn't know how to introduce myself. My name is Melissa, and I'm the timber coordinator. I also have my own business. I'm Cloud9 Event Services, so I do this part-time and then my other business, and I've probably corresponded with most of you via email, but this is what I look like in person, not through Zoom, and I'm wearing real pants, not pajamas.
Right, the pants-free doesn't apply anymore. Right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Brian Shapula from Sensity Line and Sensory Sport Network of Canada. Just as a reminder, we're a registered charity. We provide services and supports to people who are flying across Ontario. Our headquarters are here in Paris for the Old Sacred Heart School, and the site is also where we have our signature apartment complex. So we have 19 people who are at home, who I'm sure some of you see around the community.
Wonderful organization. Mark, you can say hi quickly and then we'll introduce you again later.
I'm Mark. I'm based in Brantford, the owner of Revelot Inc. and a new member of the chamber, very proud to be part of the group, and I'll tell you all a bit more later on in the agenda.
Thanks. Scott?
Hi, my name is Scott Klein. I am a partner at Millard's CPA in Brantford and the treasurer of the board.
Brad?
Good afternoon, everyone. Brad Hunter from Edward Jones Investments. I run the Edward Jones office on Paris Road in Brantford, and currently am on the membership committee with Brian and Jason. Nice to see everyone.
And Brian?
Good day, Brian Wilson, and today I'm representing Playful Fox, whoops, I must leave my balance here, who have used the Fort Paris Center for just this past weekend for Murder on the Orient Express, and will be using the Fort Paris Center coming up for Miracle on 34th Street. It's a wonderful facility, and if you want to do any type of activity, reach out to them because it's a great spot. And looking forward to hoping to see you for some live theater. And I am the chairperson of the membership committee at these two guys.
And last but certainly not least, Jason.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jason. I'm the BCing guy. If I haven't bugged you already, I have a new holiday magazine coming out. It's launching on November 22nd. I need your booking ASAP by Friday, please. I'm going a little bit crazy, but it works. Let me know.
You were crazy a long time ago.
I wanted to say I'm going to do it.
Wonderful. Okay, now on to the board report. So now that the province of Ontario has implemented the mandatory proof of vaccination for indoor event and meeting spaces, our board has approved holding in-person meetings and events again. So we're going to be looking for members to sign up. Remember that business after 5 thing we used to do that we haven't done in so long? We're going to be looking for sign-ups for that. So if you're interested in hosting a business after 5 event, you just need to reach out to Melissa and let her know. It is a really good opportunity to showcase your business to other business people. If you don't have a location or you want to collaborate with another member, I think that's a great idea. We always welcome collaboration, so that is certainly possible to do. So let us know. We're going to be coming up with a list, and it will be basically first come, first serve. Although I would say we do want to give priority to any members that haven't had an opportunity to do one in the past. So let us know. 2022, the lineup for events. Kind of looking forward to this, Mr. Harrington. This should be good. So we're going to resurrect some plans that we had on hold. We had to put them on hold last year. So we have a number of things ongoing we were working on. A job fair, which I hope we're going to bring back into spring. Our Market Expo, which we did, I think, 2 years running. So this will be our 3rd year of hosting the Market Expo. We were also planning a food and drink expo, which I think we'll bring back again. Yeah, food, drink. And that we're hoping to move out into the county, possibly St. George. We'll look and see where the venue, which venue is going to be best suited for it. And then the other thing we were planning was a hoedown, kind of like a social event. And that'll be closer to the fall, probably. And then we're talking about possibly holding our very first mayor's luncheon. So, Pam, she's nodding her head back there. That's good because that's going to be Pam's thing to come up with. I know the mayor would love us to do it, so we're going to focus on trying to get that done too. Now, with respect to COVID, we're going to continue to follow the guidance of the health unit and our government officials. And if we need to revise our plans, we'll certainly let everyone know. But as it stands right now, if you're fully vaccinated, we're going to be able to have us all be together again in person. To remind you about the availability of the COVID rapid screening test kits, I don't know how many of you are aware. We are working with the Brantford Brant Chamber of Commerce in rolling these kits out. They are available to businesses with 150 or less employees, daycares, and private schools can order through our chamber program. We have information online on our website. You can click on the link. There are questions you have to answer, and you have to book an appointment in order to pick the kits up. You can't just show up. The kits are at 77 Charlotte Street at the Brantford Brant Chamber location. See Melissa or talk to Melissa if you've got any questions on the program, but certainly you can get the information off our website as well. That has been a really great program. It catches asymptomatic people that aren't aware that they might be carrying the virus, so it is a way to mitigate some of the risk. If you've got people that aren't yet vaccinated, you can certainly have this as an extra tool. And we recently held a webinar with Dennis Tusnard from Watrous Holden, and he is an employment lawyer, and he came on and gave us some guidance on creating a workplace vaccination policy. So if you know of anyone or you yourselves are struggling with coming up with a vaccination policy, we have that session videotaped, and we can certainly make it available to you. It was very informative, and we really thank Dennis for taking the time to share that with us on his time. And we have Dave Cash back in the back corner with us today, and as Dave mentioned, he's a member of our advocacy committee, and he's been working with Pam and I, and he put up his hand to help us.
And I sucked him in.
Yeah. He made eye contact. That's always a mistake. To help us develop a broadband strategy. And we made a proposal. So Dave and I made a proposal to the County Council in September. And what we're hoping to do is a collaboration between ourselves and the county to come up with a broadband strategy. The government, as you know, both the feds and the province are throwing a lot of money at this. And we want to make sure that we've got a coordinated plan so that we're not duplicating efforts, and we can point the money where it's needed the most. So, the pandemic has made it abundantly clear the important role that the internet plays. And certainly I think companies are going to be looking for the type of broadband service that is available in an area. I'll come to you in a sec. As part of their decision-making process to come into an area. So I think it's going to become more and more important. So really happy to announce that Council unanimously approved the proposal, and they've asked County, and I don't know, Russ, if it's you guys that are on the hook for this, but County is to report back on the feasibility, and you're welcome to speak to this too. So we hope to establish a task force between possibly some council members, some county employees, maybe IT people, and a couple of members from the chamber to establish this strategy. And we're also hoping to work closely with the internet service providers in the area. So Dave, I'll hit you up first. You had something you wanted to add to that?
Just a footnote on the strategy. I mean, it's not a new idea to have a strategy. Bottom line is we need to improve the broadband availability of the service in Brant for all of us that are trying to communicate with the rest of the world. But one of the challenges that I noticed in looking into it for Brant is a lot of our areas are not designated properly as being underserved or unserved. And it's a whole technical rigmarole, and I won't go through that today, but it's important, I think, for you to know that access to government funding for internet providers or even public bodies is not easy if you're not designated underserved or unserved. So one of the reasons we want to partner with the county on doing this strategy is to really set the record straight about what the services are, what is available out there in the county. So that's a big question mark that needs to get answered. I just wanted to throw that out.
No, I appreciate that.
That part of it
gets lost. You're right, it gets lost. And Russ, I don't know if you wanted to add anything at all. we'll just leave it there?
Yeah, there's a report coming, I believe, in the next few weeks, this month, staff report. To answer your question, we're all part of that. We all kind of need it, and we'll pull the skill sets and the resources from the appropriate areas to put the report together. But that's coming forward.
Okay, good. All right, and then I think I mentioned, you know, we're looking to work closely with local service providers, so I'm going to hand it over to Joel and to Jonathan now from ExploreNet, and you guys please come on up and tell us what ExploreNet, what your plans are for expanding internet in the county. And thank you, by the way, for coming out today, guys. I appreciate it.
Well, we're excited to be here because it's been, 19 months since I've been anywhere. Matter of fact, the only people I think I've seen from this group is Michael and his staff. So, by the way, thank you for the service. Work's fantastic.
Thank you.
So we're going to do a little dog and pony show here really quickly. I'm going to be the good cop, bad cop. I'm the bad cop. So what I want to do is address the elephant in the room, which you all know about, and I'd like to address it. So as you know, Jonathan and I both came from Silo. Silo was the initial talks with ExploreNet happened in the fall of 2019. February of 2020 it was inked, and then despite our concerns with network understanding and migration, they went ahead on August the 17th and migrated the Silo network over to ExploreNet, in which case it was I won't call it a national disaster, but close. And unfortunately, it impacted a lot of people. It impacted a lot of people's businesses. It still has some impact today that we're still trying to complete and tie off the loose ends. So all through that, we ended up purchasing many different types of businesses. We also got purchased ourselves by Stone Peak out of New York. And Jonathan will cover the benefits of that, which is really going to be exciting for Brant County. He'll talk about that. But I just wanted to let everybody know that, yes, there's been some pain points, some serious pain points. And it's amazing how fast 13 years of goodwill can go down the drain. It just takes one mistake, or in this case, a series of mistakes, which, by the way, had an impact on the company because there were several people that were displaced because of that error. And unfortunately, it was just too little too late to reverse it, and they had to continue on. So I'm here to tell you that if there's anybody that you know of that still has some issues, I'd like to hear about it because I'd like to fix it. And we'd like to move forward now with the good news. So Jonathan, I've worked with Jonathan at Silo. He's now with me also at ExploreNet. And why don't you fill him in on the good stuff?
Yeah, sure. So just to reiterate what Joel said, so I've been with Silo for 3 years before the acquisition by ExploreNet. And so, you know, I knew many of you sort of before that, and obviously since, you know, a few of you have had some interactions with me. So one thing that I'm really excited about, so Joel mentioned the acquisition by Stone Peak of ExploreNet, and that's a really big deal because what that's done for ExploreNet is opened up a whole new road to financing for us. And so one thing that's just recently happened is we've secured $1.5 billion in new financing, specifically designated to develop internet services in rural Canada. And so that will mean a couple things. That will mean 5G dedicated internet services. So different from what, you know, Bell and Rogers and some of those companies are doing with 5G for cellular technology, we'll be developing a 5G network specifically for internet access for underserved areas. So that's something that is going to be coming to Brant County. Another big part of that $1.5 billion is fiber. Anyone who knows anything about, you know, internet service knows that fiber is the ultimate future-proof way to go. And so as part of that $1.5 billion, there will be a $9 million project specifically in Brant County and part of Six Nations, where we will be running, I think it's about 120 kilometers of fiber optic cable. And that's in addition to more money that's being put into all of the towers in this area, ExploreNet's towers, the former Silo towers, to upgrade those, to add fiber capabilities to the towers so that we can get into those areas where maybe we can't quite get fiber to it. We'll be able to get you wireless service. And the good thing that I think that Joel and I are fortunate that we are a part of a division of XplorNet that's called XplorNet Enterprise Services, Enterprise Solutions. And we have access to a lot of things that you may not realize are even out there right now. One of the things that we can do right now in Brant County is if you have a business that's in a hard-to-reach spot and you're struggling with bandwidth, we can do custom dedicated wireless services as well. Granted, it's more expensive than those other routes that we're talking about that will be coming, in the next few years. But what we can do is give you absolute dedicated guaranteed speeds. And that's something that I know a lot of businesses need. And we've been doing a few for some of the former silo customers who really need something better. And so that's something we can do now. And the funding is there for that. We have the capability to do it. And fiber and 5G, that's just going to be the next step. And so I'm glad that the county is thinking about a plan and a strategy for that because it is super important. And we're happy to hopefully be a part of that going forward with the investments that XplorNet's making. So, and if you have any questions about any of those projects or the funding or what that will look like, feel free to ask Joel or myself. There are still obviously some details being worked out, but there is more information to be had if you have questions.
On 5G, I know 5G has had some bad press with China and so in Canada, do we know where we're getting our 5G equipment from?
So it depends on who you are. Our 5G specifically is going to be Ericsson equipment, so we're not dealing with Huawei for our 5G rollout, so that won't be an issue for us. And that's obviously an intentional decision that we made. So the deal is with, correct me if I'm wrong, but with Ericsson, so they'll be supplying all the equipment for our 5G rollout.
Does anybody have any questions?
The only other thing I might add is that there are some things going on as we speak now that it's pretty exciting for the county, but with regards to fiber, but that will benefit a lot of people. So
yeah, there's some things we can't talk about yet.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah, it's going to be good news, really good news. So anyway, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks,
guys.
Yeah, there's.
Because they need more requests.
Yeah.
And the bowls were small.
I can talk while you wander up here. I have no problem with that. Okay, so shop local program. This is another one that we're working with the county on. The OCC, actually it was the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, got funding from the government, and the OCC specifically got $9 million of that funding to roll out to chambers across Ontario. You had to make an application, and we were able to do that, and we were approved for funding to put together a directory guide for businesses. This is going to be, let me find it so I don't get it wrong, professional services, healthcare and related industries, and business services, specifically for County of Brant residences and businesses. So this is an extension of the Love Local Brant campaigns that have been run previously, and you've gotten those guides in the mail. You've got the farm market one and the restaurant one, the dining guide. This is an extension of that, and the hope is that we capture all those businesses that haven't been captured yet. So it's going to have an online version and a print copy, and that we hope to have done very soon. So there was actually a request for quotes went out. I don't know if it's gone out yet to the membership, but I know we're starting to share it.
That has not gone out yet.
Okay, so we're going to be sending out a request for quotes to the membership. So if you see that coming out, if you know of any marketing companies, local marketing, we'd like to keep it local. So if you know any local marketing companies, they do have to be a chamber member, so they would have to sign up and be a member, but then we would consider their submission. Sorry, Steve, you're going to ask something?
I have a question about this guy. We continue to see newcomers to Paris who either through social media and I have friends who moved to Paris, and there's always questions of who do I get to fix my furnace?
Right.
Who do I get? Does this guide encompass all of that?
There's, you should see the list of the businesses. So Brandon, maybe you can just, if you've got that whole list of, yes, definitely, Steve. They are, you're right, contractors and servicemen, that type of thing. Brandon, I can't remember what all we've got on there, but they are definitely included.
Yeah, it would be more so of those, so for example, like you said, like who can come and fix my furnace, no, I need a lawyer, I need an accountant, we're looking to move to the county, or we're looking to sell our house in the county, what's a real estate agent that we could use, kind of an encompassing listing of those, I guess, less visitor-based
right.
ones, but more so like, people who would be able to provide those services to individuals and businesses.
So my follow-up question is, so if the businesses in the directory have to be chamber members,
no,
they don't. Okay, and that's I was gonna.
This is the marketing side of it, the design and the creation.
Yeah.
That's who has to be a member in order for their submission. Right.
Producer has to
right.
do that. Okay, so any business will have the opportunity to go into the guide.
As far as I know, as long as they fall within those categories, and I think there's something like 320 of them.
So
the point of the guide, and I'm going to ask if we can not call it a guide.
Directory.
This is a guide. I have one. And it's a great one. This is a particular one for shopping. With the season coming and all. We did a series of 4 guides this year to help the visitation accommodation industry in the county, and more to have introduce, reintroduce, and stir up business from the local community for the local community in businesses that were typically visitation. So we did a shopping guide, we did a dining guide, we just recently did a farm market guide, and a destination guide. So this directory is meant to be kind of a catchment for businesses that weren't necessarily in that one, and more of a yellow pages for the county brand, if you will, for businesses. And the design features of whether they need to be chamber, there's things that can be done with the design of it that designate that they're chamber members and that sort of thing, to build an enticement in for your membership and that sort of thing, to leverage that. But by and large, it's meant, just as you said, for long-time residents, new residents, come in and unfortunately my pipe broke. I need a reliable plumber, and where can I find that?
Well, that's great news. Like and we've talked about this in previous meetings about the need for some digital version and print version of kind of the modern day welcome wagon.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, hey, welcome to the community. Here's all the people you need to know, and this is great. And I will say, if anybody in this group has not seen the directories, guides produced by this team, they're phenomenal.
They are.
I recently met an artist who was in Paris from Toronto doing some sketching work downtown, and I ended up collecting one of each of those guides and mailing them to him in Toronto, because he was already saying, I'd like to move here when I retire.
Okay.
And they did a great job on this, so this is all great. Will it be mailed to every?
That's the idea.
Yeah, that recipe seems to be working really quite well. Our feedback and our data we've collected back from it so far on the other guide seems to indicate that. You'll notice there'll be changes. It is, we're happy that it's part of the Love Local brand. It's an easy thing to do. It's a Love Local brand. So we're happy it's part of the series for sure. But you'll notice that it'll look a little bit different. This is all 4 of the other guides are kind of designated by community. This one might be a little bit different. For example, it might start with
sectors,
air conditioner companies at the beginning of it, as opposed to by alphabet the communities, because you live in Paris. I need to find air conditioner. I don't need to find it in Paris. I need to find one
in the county. We'll do
in the county.
It's all great news.
Yeah, it is. Brent, did you have anything you wanted?
Yeah, and maybe they already mentioned it, but is there an electronic version of the spec?
There will always be. Moving forward for our division, it'll be primarily electronic, so any updates, when it goes to print, it's out of date, as we all know, for the most part. So there will, unless it's advertising, of course, because that's fantastic, but
There we go.
you saw my eye roll. You did. I saw him flip over there. Yeah, but everything, all the guides and this directory will be on. And if there's an update to be made, we tend to do a soft launch. Well, not tend, we have in the previous board done a soft launch electronically. Did a big promotion of the electronic version so that people would be able to say, hey, you know, we're 321 Main Street, not 123 Main Street. You know, we can make those changes, and we make those changes, and then we print it out and send it to the 15,000 resident homes mailing list. So if there's something that comes up after it's been launched, we will make the changes electronically, and then we'll just keep those rolling as we do another print.
Yep. So, great. Yes, ma'am.
How do businesses find out about the they will sign up or?
Yep, groups like PRC and Carson District Chamber of Commerce. We'll be reaching out, but we'll be doing a marketing campaign as well to promote that.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right, so call for nominations. We did send out, Melissa sent that out, I think, 2 weeks ago, Melissa. So we're seeking nominees to join the board of directors in 2022. If you're interested or you know someone that, please let them know before you nominate them that you're going to nominate them. And we're also always looking for people to help out on committees, so don't be shy. You know, Dave knows, just make eye contact, you're in. AGM, we are going to hold an in-person AGM. That decision has been made this year, so that's going to be wonderful. So an RFQ, a request for quote, went out yesterday or the day before, anyway, it doesn't matter. Looking for a venue, so we're waiting for answers back from members on a venue, and we'll let you know, but mark it on your calendars. It's Tuesday, December the 7th at noon. And we're going to have Paul Emerson, who is the chair of the board of directors of the Brant Community Healthcare Systems. He's going to be a guest speaker, and our mayor, David Bailey, is going to be joining us. So make sure you've got that on your calendars too. Yes.
And also, if you are looking to sponsor a table, we are looking for sponsors.
Yep, table sponsors, absolutely.
So it's an opportunity for you to put out 10 items and be a sponsor of a table and make sure that everybody knows you're here.
Yep. And door prizes.
You can call me on that.
Yep. Door prizes and table sponsors are very welcome. So let us know.
And door prizes are $50.
Yeah, $50 value. Yes, minimum. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so we're coming to the close of what's been a very challenging year and a half. I can speak to this. The board has been discussing how best for our chamber to ensure we continue to provide meaningful support to our member businesses and the community at large, post-pandemic. So when COVID hit, the focus for us really moved away from this type of thing, the networking and the social events, and it became much more focused on providing supports to businesses because that's what they really needed at the time. Going forward, we need to continue that and then also be able to ramp up the wonderful events that we've had in the past that we're known for, you know, the Fun Chamber. So to that end, the board has voted to approve the hiring of a consultant to do a review of our business practices, our strategic plan, and assist with implementing recommendations to ensure that this organization is sustainable and continues to grow. So I think this is the first time we've done a review since our inception, which was in 1998. So this is long past due. We requested and received 2 tenders for consulting services, and we put those to a vote at our board meeting in October, and I'm really pleased to announce that Mark Sidham from Revelots has been awarded the contract, and Mark has joined the chamber, and he, as he said, he operates a business consultancy in Brantford, and I'm going to let Mark just take a moment or two to tell us all about his business and himself.
Sure, great, thank you. Yeah, Scott's been asking me to join since 2014, so I'm sorry it took so long.
Yeah, better late than never, right?
Is it okay if I...
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay, so I started my business in 2013, which was also the year that I moved to Brantford. I was living in Paris, France for 3 years, and so I came back to Canada. and it's a long story as to why I chose Brantford, but that's for another day. And along with starting my own business, I'm also a board member at the Brant Skills Center, which is run by Lori Bruner, and I'm also the secretary, so I made the mistake of making eye contact to become secretary. I work with small and medium businesses to help them grow their top line primarily. So usually it's businesses that are either stagnating or they're at that inflection point where revenue growth wasn't something that was being managed as a strategic imperative, but they're too big to do nothing about it. So often they're contemplating putting a sales force in place, or they have an underperforming sales force, or they're trying to figure out how sales and marketing should work together. Most of them are business to business, whether manufacturers or services businesses, and they span from $0 in revenue to $70 million, Canada and US as well. I love referring business into Brantford, as some people in Brantford would attest to. Nothing brings me more joy than taking money out of Toronto and bringing it here. So the more I get to know about your respective organizations, the more I have the possibility of bringing some business into the region. The process I'm using for this project is virtually identical to that which I would use for any business, which is initially to diagnose the current situation, what's been done so far, what's worked, what hasn't worked, understanding from current and past members what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see more of, what they'd like to see less of, and then from there, benchmarking. So one thing I found out already is that the Paris Chamber of Commerce is at an inflection point. Most chambers start out with hiring resources part-time. It's usually they start volunteer, then they hire part-time, then they get so big that they start looking at full-time roles. You are at that inflection point, which means it's no surprise that you're asking yourself these existential questions. So that's really the approach. It's going to take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, and I expect to be able to give an update at the AGM. And if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer. Yes,
John?
We're in the process of completing our new official plan. And just to give a plug for that, there is a public meeting coming up, so don't miss the opportunity if you want to make a input on that. But it talks to a county and it talks to Paris growing. So just to take Paris, I think it's got a wrong state, but I think we're going from about 14,000 people to 27,000 people. So doubling in the next 30 years, and a lot of that is front-end loaded. So you have to wait for 2050 months to see Paris really massively grow.
Wow.
And you can just see along the 403 how new businesses are coming along, and there'll be big new businesses too. And all the way from that, there will be people wanting to get the service support of those new people going down. So when you're thinking about your redesign or reflection on where the Chamber of Commerce is, I hope you'll look forward as well as looking at the present.
Great advice, thank you. And one observation I've made in the last 6 months is the untapped opportunity in the third-party logistics space. I have an American client and a Canadian client, and they can't hire fast enough, and they don't even know how to handle the business coming in because of the growth in e-commerce. And this region is uniquely positioned such that it's close enough to Toronto to be able to provide next-day services for pick and pack businesses that want to set up here. The problem is it takes forever to get such operations set up due to a lot of the regulatory red tape that is involved. So some communities are going about it a lot faster. So I think that is true. Anything that can be done to stimulate that will stimulate jobs and the economic growth of the business. So thank you for your input.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, 2021 charity sponsorship. So we announced earlier this year that the board had chosen to support the Raw Carrot as this year's charitable organization, and we're pleased that the Raw Carrot was able to provide the meal today. And I want to introduce Alina Haskell, who's the admin project coordinator for the Raw Carrot. Alina, maybe you could share some things about the wonderful things that the Raw Carrot is doing in the community.
Yes, I can. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just checking your soup. So of course, this one we were trying to thaw another potato bacon for you, and it went to a rapid boil. So it's hot, very hot, and ready. Does anybody want a little more before I start?
Please have more.
One shaker. Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for picking us as your sponsor charity this year. That's very exciting for us. So I'm going to kind of just give an overview of the Raw Carrot because I don't know how many of you know about us. I'm assuming you've had our soup now. Isn't it great?
Yes.
Soup, right? So we have staff down in the kitchen right now cooking here. Tuesday is a cook day here in Paris. So they are cooking the soup. So we have 4 sites across this region. I don't know where you've heard of us from, but we're in Waterloo, Kitchener, Woodstock, and we're here in Paris. So we have 5 part-time site managers at each of those locations. They each kind of have one. Some of them work in teams. And then we have 29 staff across our 4 sites. So the staff are on Ontario Disability Services. And we hire them to make this delicious soup. And then we package it and sell it in various places. So let me quick about my notes here. So part of why did we start the Right Carrot? What do we do? So it was here in this church that Rebecca and Colleen saw people in the community who were marginalized. They were on Ontario Disability, and it just doesn't give you enough to provide housing and healthy food. So they're really struggling to make ends meet. And also they saw a girl here at the church who had gifts and talents. She was reliable, she showed up, she was loyal, but really not having a future moving forward. Her parents just wanted to get her on disability services so she too could get that support, and that was kind of it coming out of high school. So I think with seeing people like that in the community and knowing that people want to be part of something, they want to give back, they want to work, and then there were no jobs out there after some training and after high school. So Rebecca and Colleen, the co-founders, started the Raw Carrot, and they decided, you know what, let's make soup. Soup's fairly easy. People love it. We're here in Canada where it's cold. We all love a warm bowl of soup. So they started making soup together, and there was a number of staff that got involved. And that first year they thought, well, you know what, it'd be great if we could sell $5,000 worth of soup. And they sold $25,000 of soup. And it kind of was like, okay, we need to do something. So so Amanda's been working with us for about the full 6 years, on and off a little bit. We're now in our 7th year. And it was really just out of that frustration that we started to grow and to hire more people. How can we help more people who want to be involved, who want to work? They have disabilities and abilities, right? They have different challenges. Sometimes it's mental health, sometimes it's physical. Sometimes they just had a breakdown and they just can't go back to that traditional workforce. So in our supported kitchens across our 4 sites, they get support and they make the soup. COVID was tough. Like, I wasn't here then. I just came on in February. But we lost 40% of our sales during COVID. So there was a time I chatted with Rebecca and Colleen that they thought they might not be able to go on. And the staff were devastated, having to lay them off for a month. But then they got called back. We were deemed essential during making food, and that was a huge thing for being called essential, when often in life you were, cast aside. So that was really huge. We pivoted. We're now online. You can order our soup online if you're in a 20-kilometer radius of one of our sites. We do delivery. We have volunteers who deliver our soup. And all of the funds from the soup goes right back to pay our staff and to train more. So above and beyond, we rely on charities and donations and grants. So that's how we grow, and that's how we advertise and market and try to find more avenues to sell our soup. And again, soup is the big thing, but it's also just a vehicle to providing dignity and places of work for our staff. So that's why it's important that we continue to sell it so we can pay our staff. Because they want more hours, they want to work, they want to be here, and they want to give back. So it's huge. So then, again, pivoting online has really, we've been able to pick up again, we've been able to hire some more staff. I came on board, so obviously they were okay to hire an extra person. Colleen, one of the co-founders, had to go back to doing nursing. She felt just that she was meant to go back and do that, so we've kind of lost her, but brought in some other Emily is on board with us as well.
I want to share a new product with you. So this is on our online store. It's a gift bundle. So lots of people love to gift our soup, but it's frozen. It's a little bit, you know, awkward in the frozen packaging. So we developed a gift box, and in one of these you can get 2 soups, a sausage and crackers and cheese. And it's just a great way, someone's having a new baby or there's something going on in life, you can just give somebody one of these boxes. And I think we have a staff, which is, oh, no, no. Okay, we're just in transition. I was hoping to get a staff person to come up and say hello, but we're just in between our morning shift of cooking and our afternoon shift of packaging. I'll let you, if you have any questions, I've kind of gone really fast. I know you guys are trying to get out by 1, so I'm sorry if I ran ahead. We're good.
Can you tell us, am I correct, you also have your soups available in some grocery stores?
Yes, so we have retail locations, so each site has a bunch of retail locations that they're in. So we're at the Country Table in Paris. I can't list them all, like there's just too many. We're at Sobeys, we're at Farm Boy in Brantford. The list goes on and on, it's all online. We are at the Brantford Farmers Market, so we're there consistently. I do recommend if you go to one of our retail locations just to give them a call, because sometimes they don't always have their stock, or which favorite soups they like to have might not be the same ones that you like to have. So, yeah, any other?
Do you still have your soup of the month club?
Yes, yeah, we do. Now, not all sites. We had some managers turnover this past year. They just needed to support their families some more or COVID, so we have some new site managers, and some of them decided not to do the Soup of the Month Club, just being brand new to it all. So like in Kitchener, you can't get the Soup of the Month Club, but in the other locations you can. So does anybody want me to tell you more about that? Basically, we have a new soup every month for the 10 months of what we call our soup season. So it's generally they're seasonal, so like we do tomato, blister tomato at the end of August when tomatoes are nice and ripe, and then we move into kale, and then sometimes they're just other fun flavors over the season. And basically we make it a club because it is seasonal and there are limited amounts. So if you join to be a member, we will make sure you get a bag of that soup. Whereas if you're not, then you may get one and you may not. So it's kind of, they do go fast, some of them, especially the ones that people, like some people really love some flavors, and they're all, like Rebecca loves one and she buys as many as she can to get her through the whole year.
And that's an online sign up, is it?
Yes.
You go in the website?
Yeah, so we have therawcarrot.com. Yeah.
Just a quick question, are all the list of ingredients on site so that you can see? You know,
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got some dietary concerns.
Yeah. So they are on the packaging as well. So the ingredients are there and the nutrition value. They're not on our individual servings, which is why they're not in the retail locations. They're just online. You can get our small ones, but it is all online. And I don't know, like I put the salt down on the table because for me, I love salt and I love adding it to our soups. We do try to do low sodium. So that's why when you taste it, kind of go like, oh, it's not as salty as I thought. But yeah, any other questions? Well, basically, I just want to say thank you so much for choosing us as our charity. We, again, couldn't do with the support. I'm new to the Brantford Paris area, and we feel so supported here. The community's been fantastic. I know back in COVID, we needed masks, and we rallied the community, and we had like 100 and some masks within like a day. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'd love to get to know you guys more as I'm new to the area, but thank you.
Thank you. We're just going to wrap it up here. So
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Sorry. I do have a newsletter set up. I would love to get your contact info, and you can join our mailing list. We do only send it out once a month, and that's it. And there are online coupons here. Again, so you have to be within a 20-kilometer radius of our delivery site if you want to use that coupon, but feel free to grab one if you want to give one to someone else. And there are some brochures here as well.
Wonderful. Yes, thank you very
I will
much.
leave you to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 7, do we have any business arising from the minutes not on the agenda? So, any other business? I think, guys, we did pretty well. So our next meeting, oh yes, John, sorry.
Just if people haven't noticed, there's a new building as you come along Highway 2 behind the fire hall.
Yes.
It's the Community Health Hub. It was originally the Brant Community Health Hub.
Yep.
But we received a very large donation from the Cowan Foundation, so it's now become the Cowan Community Health Hub.
Oh, okay.
But we are still actively fundraising. We had set ourselves a target of $2 million. We're at 1.75 now, so we're within sight of the end. To date, we've really been contacting large companies or individuals that we knew had large philanthropic tendencies. We've now opened it up to a more general community, so if you feel like contributing to help us get that final push over the line, please do. And maybe just as a thought, the Chamber of Commerce, if you might like to think about making a contribution, we'd be very grateful for it. The location does open up for business on the 29th of November, so just 4 weeks away.
I think it'd be a great opportunity if we could get somebody to come out from the Health Hub too, to speak at a meeting next year. I think we should do that, so we'll get that on the calendar as well. Okay, so next meeting is the AGM, which, as I said, is Tuesday, December the 7th at noon. So stay tuned for those details and make sure you block that date out on your calendar. And other than that, I just want to say thank you, everyone, so much for coming out. Does anybody have...
Eat a bowl of soup.
Yeah. Eat another bowl of soup. And I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. If I could have a motion, please, Brian. And that's it, guys. We're done. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Awesome. Have some more soup. Lots of soup for you.